Hey y'all, Kellye Whitney here. So your internet auntie got another request for assistance. This particular topic is quite close to my heart because it's something that I have dealt with personally and talked about quite a few times on my channel. So I want to read you what she says and then I want to read you my response. Hello to my favorite internet auntie. I've listened to your wisdom for some time and want to thank you for being so refreshing. You're welcome. It's my pleasure. I've recently cut off my mom. After years of emotional abuse and her not respecting my boundaries, I decided enough was enough. As you said in a recent post, she just had a victim mentality. It took me far too long to accept she doesn't want my help, just constantly offloads on me and wants to complain. So, December 31st, 2024, I blocked her. I feel empowered because I've struggled to say no to her for years and this is huge for me. However, I'd like to get your perspective on dealing with the guilt. After years of her manipulation, it's engraved in my mind to keep giving her chances. Each chance I gave her to change her behavior and treat me better resulted in more pain, and it was detrimental to my mental health. I know I need to do what's good for me, but I feel so bad. It's replaying in my mind that I shouldn't distance myself from my own mother. I'm worried about her being alone. What if she's sick, etc. I'm thinking about her daily. It seems easy to say cut off the toxic person, but I'd like to know how to deal with this part of the journey. I'm here to tell you, I can relate to every single thing you said in there. My own mother, I've talked about her numerous times. She has dementia now. She's 84. I care for her. Like I have taken over her finances and, sometimes I even feed her and clean her house and all that stuff. I can't cut her off because she's not right in the head. It would be just completely out of order. It's like you wouldn't abandon a sick child. You know what I mean? Having said that, she's toxic as fuck. I mean, to this day, it's like the onset of this cognitive decline has exacerbated all of the toxicity and things that I distanced myself from when she was in her right mind. And I first decided that distance was the only way I was going to survive in my immediate family. I dealt with that same guilt. Well, it's not right. She's my mother, but that's just a label. Mother is a label. Sister is a label. Father is a label. Now, these labels do mean something. They mean something very profound. They mean this is a person who's supposed to love and care for you. This is someone who should be closer to you than other people who you may encounter out in the world. It means that this person should be understanding. This person should be caring, should be loving, should be encouraging, be supportive. But all that's really an ideal. That's not the reality of many of our situations when it comes to people in our families who have these labels. Instead, what happens is the people who are closest to us, the people who are supposed to love and care for us the most, often end up using their label as a tool for manipulation. And it boils down to this. Who do you love more? That label/person or yourself? Because there's another thing that I learned from my mother. And this is something that has carried me successfully throughout my adult life. And I really truly feel that this particular thing that she taught me will carry me on out of here. And that's how to be selfish. I do not love anyone more than I love myself. I do not have children, so that's out of the way. I'm not married. And even if I was, I doubt very seriously whether or not I would love my husband more than I love myself. I don't love anyone more than I love me. Because if I don't love me, I truly don't believe that I can love anybody else. Because this is where it all starts. Having said that, I think I'm older than this young lady and I've had more time to acclimate to the distance that I've had to put between me and certain toxic ass family members. And I've had more time to enjoy the benefits and to see that I'd made the right decision, whereas this is very fresh for this young woman. So I did a little research and I came up with a couple of things that she might want to deal with and you might want to deal with if you're in a similar situation where you've made the really tough decision to go no contact with a very toxic family member who you may have given chance after chance after chance and you've just had enough and you want to move on and you want to live well and you realize that you can't do it in close proximity to this person. Dealing with guilt after you cut off a toxic person is complicated. It's not going to be something that's, we'll just give yourself a little time. No. It's like the family cha-cha. You will be okay, then you regress. You'll be okay, then you regress. You just go back and forth and you have to go through it. And that's the first thing that I would encourage this young woman or any person to do, and that's to acknowledge your feelings. I'm just going to read what I wrote. It's not bad. Guilt is a natural emotional response, especially in a society that emphasizes familial bonds. So accept that feeling guilty is a part of your new reality, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you've done anything wrong. In fact, it's often a sign of your empathy and care for others. And what I mean by that is, this is a boundary. This is a standard that you've set for your life and what kind of treatment that you're going to tolerate and what kind of treatment you want to give out to those around you. Second, reaffirm your decision. Remind yourself why it is that you went no contact. Toxic relationships with family can be hugely detrimental to your self-esteem, to your mental health, to your physical health. So list specific events in a journal maybe that will help you to reaffirm why you made this decision. Once you see those things laid out, you'll be like, yeah, I did the right thing by removing myself from this toxicity. Because a lot of times when you look and you just go thing by thing of why you broke the tie with somebody in your family, you look at that list and it's like, shit. We're all adults. You know better. How dare you do this to me? That's how I think anyway. Now, the third thing on my list of how you can deal with the guilt of cutting off a toxic family member is to seek validation from trusted sources. And that's basically what this girl did. And I'm so flattered that she considers me a trusted source. But I don't have any degrees to deal with the mind or psychology or anything like that. So in addition to discussing her feelings and situations with supportive friends or internet aunties, she may want to seek out a therapist, because that person can provide some much needed perspective and just reassure you that prioritizing your mental health is not actually selfish. Fourth thing in dealing with this guilt is to focus on self-care. Prioritize activities that nurture your emotional and physical well-being. Meditation, exercise, hobbies, creative outlets. These things can help to redirect your focus, and that will reduce some of those feelings of guilt. It's like me. When I get upset, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs. I go for a walk. In the winter, when it's too cold in Chicago for me to go for a walk, I may go to the gym. Or if I don't feel like going to the gym, I will clean something up or read a book. But the things that I do to quiet any dis-ease in my mind, they're all good for me. So I'm not gonna feel bad about the choice, and I know it's something that is good for me overall, and I think that's important. Now, this fifth one I came up with, I think is huge, huge, huge. And this is to challenge these internalized beliefs, specifically the one that tells you that you have to stay attached to certain people just because they have a label. The mother-daughter relationship ideally should be sacred, but too often it's toxic as fuck. And when it is, it bumps right up against that societal expectation that you will remain attached to this person no matter what. I don't think that's right. I don't think that's fair. And I don't think that if you're in a situation where you're in a toxic relationship with a label person, you should just stay, because the label means something in society. Because if the label doesn't mean anything to the people in the relationship, then it doesn't mean anything, period. You see what I'm saying? Toxic parents will often instill feelings of guilt in their children for just this reason, to keep them attached. Shit like, well, that's your family and family should always come first. But you have to examine that stuff real critically and then replace it with something healthier, because you have to understand what it is sometimes. And what it is a manipulation tactic. It's something to keep you bound in a toxic relationship, and it's very one-sided. The benefits are all for the other person. No. So the sixth thing I came up with to deal with the guilt of cutting off a toxic family member is to set clear boundaries in your mind. Even if you're no longer in close contact with that person, mentally reinforcing your boundaries can help you to process your feelings, because you're basically reminding yourself that you can't control somebody else's behavior, but you can control your own and how you respond to theirs. Number 7, accept imperfection. You guys have heard me say so many times, perfection does not exist. And I think that couldn't be more true when it comes to familial relationships and family dynamics in particular. They are rarely black and white. You can care about your family's well-being and still realize that a relationship with them is completely toxic for you. Just acknowledge that it's okay for you to be conflicted. But at the end of the day, what matters is that you make the best decision for your overall well-being. Number 8, redirect your energy. Pull that emotional energy that, you're spending feeling guilty and use it to build some more positive relationships with other people. Maybe people who aren't related to you, but who have always been kind to you and cared for you. And maybe they can be your new family. Don't project. Don't try to build relationships with just anybody, obviously. But if there are relationships that are healthy and nourishing, funnel your energy toward them. Or you can redirect your energy towards some other types of personal development. Maybe reading books that will help you to advance your thinking, or to calm your mind, or to maybe advance your spiritual journey, for instance. And the last one that I came up with to help someone deal with the guilt of cutting off a toxic parent is just give yourself time. This is not something that you're going to feel better about in a prescribed length of time. It's not going to be, 6 months, you'll get over it. Maybe a year. This literally could linger for months and months and years without concentrated effort on your part to break free of these mental, emotional shackles, I guess is the best word, that are these toxic family relationships. It literally is a tie that binds. So allow yourself some grace. If you're going to feel a certain type of way, that is perfectly okay. Feel whatever you got to feel. Cry if you need to. But hold on to your boundaries. Don't forget why you are doing what it is that you're doing. Remind yourself that this wasn't an easy decision. This wasn't a decision you came to lightly. Remind yourself that breaking away from that toxicity is an act of self-love, and it's something that you did for your own betterment, for your own good. Just remember, deciding to go no contact doesn't make you a bad person. It's just a decision that you made so that you can prioritize your well-being long-term, period. So that's what I got. I hope she finds some value in this list. It's a tough decision, any way you look at it, to go no contact with a family member, especially someone as close as your mother. But sometimes we got to do what we got to do, because the thing that scares me more than going no contact with a shitty family member is to spend the rest of their life dealing with their toxicity and wasting mine. That scares me so much. I don't feel that much guilt. So that ends my TED Talk for today. I'll see y'all tomorrow.